60 for your Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 86. Partly cloudy and 60 for your Wednesday night. Sunny and 85 on Thursday and sunny and 81 on Friday. I'm Tim Livingston from the KFNX Weather Bug Weather Center.
Currently in downtown Phoenix, it's 76 degrees.
Next news in 30 minutes or when it breaks. Here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
I'm Francis Battaglia, president of Independent Talk 1100 KFNX, and we're expanding our lineup of local talk shows. We're looking for individuals, business owners, and professionals to host their own radio talk show. This would be a new weekly show that either you pay for or help get sponsors to fund your show. You would pick the topic, select guests, and take calls from the listening audience. There is no experience necessary, and we provide training. Call me at 602-277-1100, extension 1463, 602-277-1100, extension 1463.
Brandon was a healthy 21-year-old with a promising future until he suffered a severe brain injury from a car crash in 2001. He chose to get behind the wheel while intoxicated, and it changed his life forever. Help Team Brandon spread the message about the effects of drinking and driving at the Vow to Drive Sober 5K and 1 mile run, walk, and wheel event in downtown Phoenix on Saturday, December 9th. Go to vowtodrivesober.org. Click on the events page to sign up and learn more. vowtodrivesober.org.
To me, Trump is like our first citizen president. He talks like Jimmy down the street.
This is the Joe Walsh Show. Joe Walsh, nights at 7 p.m. Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Have you ever wondered how yoga benefits your brain? I'll tell you what happens to your gray matter every time you get into warrior pose. All that and more on Intelligence for Your Health. Join me Sunday nights at 9 on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Welcome to the Reality Check. Your host, Ben Shannon, here with you every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. So I say, if Roy Moore is guilty, we send him to jail. Now, am I supposed to believe that some guy I don't know who it looks like he dated young girls, which is actually different than his allegations, or am I to believe Gloria Allred? That's the striking question of ridiculousness. Am I to believe, if this was true, no one said a word, this guy's last 8 elections that he was involved in, everyone gets a little worse, from the first girl to the last girl. Was he banned from them all? No one in the last 3 decades has said a word about it. The allegations are disturbing. Key phrase, aren't most allegations disturbing? You know, am I to believe this wasn't an inside job by Repubs that said, right away you should quit? You had your buddies Flake, Romney, McConnell. I mean, they literally tripped on the microphone on the way over to the podiums, wherever they could find a camera podium, to say he should drop out. Moore's career is over either way, so job's accomplished either way. But just like Richard Jewell, remember the American police officer and security guard that was he was working as a security guard for AT&T, and he became known with his connection with the Centennial Olympic Park bombing in 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. He discovered a backpack filled with 3 pipe bombs on park grounds. Jewell alerted the police and helped them to evacuate the area before the bomb exploded, saving many people from injury and death. Initially hailed by the media as a hero, Jewell was later considered a suspect. Jewell's case is considered an example of the damage that can be done by reporting based on unreliable or incomplete information. Despite being never charged, he underwent a trial by media with a great toll to his personal and professional life. Jewell was eventually completely exonerated, as Eric Rudolph was later found to be the bomber. Yet, others have done far worse, and no call was made for them to step down. Bill Clinton dipped a cigar, no big deal. Roman Polanski drugged a 13-year-old, and molested a 10-year-old. Yet are the calls for him to come back saying he served his time. Lena Dunham, she's an admitted child molester, a hero who's lost nothing and actually gained more roles since she's admitted to being a child molester. Now what we have here is one-party system. You have Repubs, you have the Dems, and it's just a group of lifetime politicians who fight harder to keep everyone else down than they fight for America to get up. Now, let us have a list of demands for those who want to be elected officials. How about we drug test them all before they run, during their office day? Anyone in government. Make all criminal charges and their convictions public so we know and we can decide. Each election should have the same amount for each candidate and position, no private donations whatsoever. They run on a budget, and if they can't maintain that, too bad for them, then they're not qualified for the job. Just like our government should run on a budget. We don't have an income problem. We have spending problems. Now, like I said before, I can't say the guy's innocent, the guy's guilty. I don't know more from Schmore. What do I really know about the guy? He's just basically been convicted before a jury has had a chance. Just like a certain group of people, like the Nazis, right? They did the same thing. You were convicted before you ever had a chance to defend yourself. And that's what we have here. Chances are maybe he did do it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he had a taste for younger women, what it looks like, which back at that time, wrong, obviously, but society's advanced, and many of the people that are accusing him of that were probably doing the same thing back in the day. But some of the stories have become outlandish. You have to wonder, is this a message, a big message from to any non-establishment Republican? Don't run for office or we'll make you sorry that you ever thought about it. There's some interesting, though, little tidbits on this case. Just from some minor research, you could see, like, Willie's Good Eating. That was one of the places where his accuser said Moore drove her behind the building. She thought he was headed for the street behind the restaurant. The problem with that is there's no street behind the restaurant, nor is there any parking behind this restaurant. It has parking on the left, on the right, streets on the left and the right. So actually almost every place was in public view there. But what do we know? We weren't there. They showed the yearbook. Of course, you've seen that, the big evidence of the day. Signed at Christmas because that's when she got her yearbook. That's strange because most people don't get their yearbooks at Christmas. They usually get them near an end of a school year or in the beginning of a school year. And from what research shows is her school got it in August printed and gave it out the first week of school, which is usually about September. But like I said, again, what do we really know? We weren't there. And what's interesting is you can look at letters and signatures and say, this is the same, that's not the same. Your signature can change from time to time. But what's interesting in the thing is you see it's signed with an actual date on it, and then again, the date again. And then he puts where he signed the book. So here's a guy signing the yearbook. He dates it twice and then puts the place where he's signing it at, which is really irrelevant to the whole yearbook thing. And then that place isn't even spelled right, as opposed to it was like the old Hickory House, OLD, but in the writing you see OLDE, and that wouldn't be common knowledge to somebody today. It would have been to someone back then. So it's spelled wrong, which could be a recent mistake, because back then you wouldn't have known how to spell the place. Now you wouldn't, because it's changed names and actually since probably went out of business. Why did the accuser, everyone said how real she was. It was real. It was damn real. But she called him Ray Moore. She was so shaken to the core that she didn't know his name. It happens. It's a mistake maybe. Gloria Allred right there to help her out and make sure everything's right. Another one was in 1977. the lady was saying when she was attacked, she tried to get out of the car, and he locked the passenger door from his side. How would he do that? In 77, most cars didn't have that ability. I don't know. I mean, I've driven a few cars that old. Sad but true. Like I said, who knows whether the guy's guilty or not? Does it look like he's somewhat of a pervert? Probably. But I'm sure these stories, the timing of it all, and when Gloria Allred gets involved, the credibility goes shot to the toilet. You know, what's happened to some of the other stories, the big ones? And now we have the more thing. It's like we can only handle one big story at a time. Everything else gets blown out of the water. We had the Iwan scandal. Remember Anyone Bueller? He was the IT guy for the DNC for a while. Stole over $250,000 worth of equipment. And there's no word, anything yet. No charges, nothing. You know, how's the guy not in jail? And then this week, the DNC, the fake hack, right? They said Russia hacked into their computers. It's pretty much been blown apart, not even in the news. CrowdStrike, the company that's running it for them, they're the ones that told the government there was a hack in the DNC. It was an inside job as far as I'm concerned, and there's no proof there's been a hack. What's the proof? The proof is CrowdStrike told the government. You're telling me any police agency doesn't do their own research and physically look at the computers? Come on, seriously? There's no way. There's no way. That's like me telling the police that my neighbor stole something from my yard and I have it on videotape. And the cops are like, yeah, but on videotape? Yes, I do. And they're like, okay, we'll charge him. And they don't look at the videotape. And I don't need to show them the videotape because I said I have it on videotape. Doesn't make sense in the real world. I'm sorry. That's a fraud. There was no hack. It was an inside job. And I'm sure most people know who it was. And sad that the person that I think it was paid with their life. They paid with their life to get this out. My name's Ben Shatterman, host of The Reality Check. When we come back, we will definitely dip into Vegas.
Join the Valley Insider Saturdays at noon, sponsored by Dimension 5 Productions. Visit D5PROD.com. The Valley Insider, bringing you the fun and the funny in the Valley. Saturdays at noon on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Help Sun Devil football reclaim the Territorial Cup on November 25th when arch rival Arizona comes to Tempe. Be sure to arrive early as we honor the 2017 senior class. Don't miss the Coors Light Sun Devil tailgate featuring live music, beverages, and food from Wapa Grill, located in the Desert Arboretum. The tailgate opens 3 hours prior to kickoff, and fans of all ages are welcome. Get your tickets today by calling 480-727-0000 or online at thesundevils.com.
There are lots of good reasons to take a good quality multivitamin. Even the best eating plans can fall short of meeting all of the necessary nutrients you need each day. Emerald Laboratories offers different multivitamin formulas with specialty men's, women's, and prenatal formulas to meet individual needs. Each formula contains coenzyme activated forms of B2, B6, and folic acid, Albion Minerals, the gold standard in mineral chelates, vitamin K as MK7, and full spectrum mixed tocopherols, tocotrienols, and carotenoids. Folic acid is one of the standout nutrients in these formulas. 46% of the U.S. population does not process folic acid properly, putting them at greater risk for premature heart attack and stroke, depression, and even schizophrenia. Taking a once daily multivitamin is an easy way to fill in small nutritional gaps. Learn more about Emerald Laboratories' science-based multivitamin formulas by going to ultralaboratories.com. That's ultralaboratories.com.
Stay up late. Alex Jones, After Dark, nights 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX, the home of the Alex Jones Show.
Do you need bone support? Do you need immune support? Now you can get both with D3 Gold from Quantum Nutrition Labs. Natural vitamin D3, 1,000 milligrams per drop, all for $10.95. Support your bones and immune system when you need it most. Try D3 Gold and see the results for yourself. For a limited time, buy one bottle at $10.95 and get the second 50% off. Call now, 888-588-7578. That's 888-588-7578. Or visit us online at qnlabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Our product line, Quantum Nutrition Labs, delivers what others only promise, nutrition that really works.
You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to outer space. Please stand by.
Welcome back to the Reality Check. Ben Shennerman, your host, here with you for another segment on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. So the last segment we talked about Roy Moore. Did he or didn't he? We don't know. How do we even know these guys? So before we go into Vegas, just the thought. You know, back in the day, everything was simpler. People were happy with less. Now, throughout the days, society has advanced. Others have stayed the same. Some have even gotten worse. You know, we, as a society, have, at a minimum, tried to leave each generation better than the last. It was, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp besides the golden door. Yeah, never was it thought to let people in who are against our values, our laws, and our way of life. And that's the difference between what was a past world and what is a modern day me world. So now, the Las Vegas shooting. Almost gone from the news again. But it's worse than ever if you look at some of the stuff. You know, we heard that BS story about how Paddock lost his wealth. And they tried to push that. That's fading out of the way because they know that was bogus. You can see that this guy had money everywhere. He actually made money the year they said he lost money. Sorry. Still no answer why the Las Vegas cops fired in that room, and it took for over a month for us to know that, why they fired their gun when they thought this guy was already dead, and they said they knew he was already dead. Again, with the cameras, are we to believe there were no cameras on that room? And then no word from how Paddock got caught up in a wiretap. You know, how was it that his number came up? He was dealing with obviously not some of the best people. But those are the things we've already covered, amongst others. But what about James Murin, the CEO of Mandalay Bay? Here's a guy who sold $9.9 million worth of stock the week before the shooting. That's 80% of his owning of a company he's the CEO in. So why did this guy want to sell that much of his stock in a company he runs? Is he the luckiest man in the world? Or did he know something? This same James Murin, who's the CEO of Mandalay Bay, who sold his stock less than 2 weeks before the Las Vegas shooting, he is also a member appointed by Obama in the DHS, Department of Homeland Security Advisory Board. Very interesting. One of the people who actually made money when Mandalay Bay stock is down about 20% now since the shooting. One of the people who bet against that stock and made money, I know this won't shock anybody, but again, George Soros. Whenever there's bad things happening, there's always one guy who makes a profit, and that guy seems to be George Soros. I know, just another coincidence. When the first few shots that came out, they were just single shots. Was that Paddock trying to hit the fuel tanks? And did he actually think that would hurt everyone over there, or was the fuel tanks trying to get him to blow up a distraction for something else? Yeah, just questions we need to know. Was that original plan chaos and distraction? As the shots were fired, there was a concert security officer, like one of their officers. His back was turned to the Mandalay Bay. And he was joking around with the people as shots were being fired, and most people were ducking and hiding for cover. And he's like, nothing to worry about, no problem, with his back to the shots. Now, either he's one of the bravest people we know, stupid as hell, or he knew something we didn't. So this guy, same security guy, ends up on CNN a few days later in an interview, and they say he got wounded badly by the shots. Now, he's sitting down wearing a white T-shirt just after he got hit by a large caliber gun, and you don't see any marks on him. There's nothing. So where was he injured, and how come they didn't talk about it? But he's just saying what a horrific scene it was. This is an interesting thing. So then they had a witness who came on to talk, and it was CNN again. His name was Brian Claypool. Now, Brian Claypool is an attorney. He's known for other things, like obviously an attorney, but he was one of the people that when Lena Dunham talked about how she molested a girl, her own relative, he came out and basically defended her. So he did a bunch of interviews in the circuits on that, even like a Tucker Carlson one where he was on defending her. So the same guy, it's the same guy, same face, same name. He's a witness right after the shooting. And he's on TV, and he's, shaken, which, okay, obviously you'd be shaken. You just witnessed hundreds of people get hurt, over 50 people dead, the biggest shooting, in modern-day history. And he's doing this interview right after, and he's, you could tell he's struggling. The craziest thing about it, not only the coincidence that this guy is famous, but you look at his shirt, there's no sweat on it. There's not a wrinkle in his shirt. It looks like he just put on a brand new shirt from a box. And his shirt said, Route 91, the concert was all concert shirt. Just an interesting thing. I mean, you figure you're running for your life, because this guy was sitting in the VIP section, which was right up there where they were getting shot. And you're running for your life. You're, not even this guy just looks like he just walked out of his room. He just changed, and boom, he's ready to go. Enough of that one. There's another question I had to ask myself thinking about it. There were 500 people that were wounded. Put the dead aside, there are 500 people that are wounded. Not one of them has since have they come out and said that any of those people have died. So I remember at least 30 people in critical condition that night. Not one of them has died. That's pretty amazing. Or is it they're not telling us? There are reports that police haven't even gone to the surrounding, but now we're pushing 7 weeks out. And there are reports that police have not even gone to the surrounding businesses to get the CCTV tapes, any recordings that these businesses would have. As a matter of fact, it was so bad that one of the businesses actually sent the video of a dead body laying on the ground and all the rescues right outside of the concert. One business owner sent to an attorney that's filing suit on behalf of some of the victims. So they're filing suit against Mandalay Bay for some of the victims, and this business owner actually sent the tape because the cops wouldn't even come to talk to him. So we are Las Vegas, the biggest recording CCTV area probably in America with the casinos and everything. And they're not even going around the businesses and asking for videotape. How does it happen? If you see this videotape and there's somebody laying on the ground and people tried to help, and then you could tell at one point they give up. So they cover the body, and pickup truck comes and rescues some people, takes them away, and then the pickup truck comes back and they load the body in. And police haven't even been to the business right outside the concert. Nothing that would stretch, nothing that would be a surprise, within walking distance. I mean, you could watch those shows in ID, and they look around every business and look at the cameras. There's a camera at this business. Let's get it. Maybe it's a shot in the dark, but we need to see that video to see if we could see anything and piece it together with this one across the street and that one across the street. Nothing. I mean, unbelievable. The Saudi prince, Alwaleed bin Talal, who was arrested for corruption, who, together with Bill Gates, owns the Four Seasons Hotel, which is the hotel within the hotel on the top of Mandalay Bay, the top 5 floors. He was in Vegas at the time of the shooting. So was he the guy that the SWAT team in the Tropicana was walking out? Were we not protecting our own citizens to give this guy protection? Because the guns were pointed at the people in the casino. And they all had their hands up. And they knew something serious was going on. And there were 2 guys behind the SWAT team. And the minute they cleared everything, they turned to him and let him go. Is this what is that who it was? We'd like to know, amongst many other answered questions. My name's Ben Shannerman, host of the Reality Check. When we return, we will talk about some MMA stuff. You're listening to the Reality Check on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
News you won't get anywhere else. Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Fair and balanced. Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
At least 5 people, including the suspect, are dead after that gunman went on a killing spree in a remote area 125 miles northwest of Sacramento. County Assistant Sheriff Phil Johnson says the investigation continues.
Right now, we have no known motive. We know of no real connection to any of the victims. Most of the victims in this case appear to be random selections.
Senate Republicans say the repeal of Obamacare's so-called individual mandate clause will be included in their tax reform plan. Correspondent Phil Mattingly reports while it's not a legislative certainty, the proposal would certainly counter estimates of a sharply higher deficit.
The individual mandate, when it goes away, fewer people will sign up for insurance. 13 million over the course of 10 years, according to the CBO. That means fewer government subsidies will be paid out, fewer people will enroll in Medicaid. That will save a significant sum of money. Money Republicans need to actually plow into their tax bill.
On Wall Street, the Dow closed down 30, NASDAQ down 20. I'm Elliot Francis.
From the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center, for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low 60. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 86. Partly cloudy and 60 for your Wednesday night. Sunny and 85 on Thursday and sunny and 81 on Friday. I'm Tim Livingston from the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center.
Currently in downtown Phoenix, it's 76 degrees.
Next news in 30 minutes or when it breaks. Here on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX.
Hey everyone, this is Ken Beckrick, owner of Online Trading Academy Phoenix. One of my students recently told me that Online Trading Academy is the best kept secret in the Valley. Well, let me tell you, if you're a business owner, the last thing you want is for your business to be a secret in the community it serves, even if it is the best one. So I'm offering a series of complimentary workshops to get the word out. The workshop will benefit beginners who want to generate monthly income trading the financial markets. Additionally, it'll benefit those who have no interest in trading but want to manage their long-term retirement accounts. And if you're an experienced trader who's struggling to generate consistent profits, this workshop's for you too. Admission is free for those who call 8448-INCOME right now. That's 844-846-2663. When you attend, you'll also receive 5 of our most popular home study courses absolutely free. Call 8448-INCOME now. Seating is limited. Call 844-846-2663 today.
Hi, I'm Steve Cates, the host of the popular radio show A Call to Rights, to learn much more about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our Second Amendment rights, and always ways to stay free. Always refuse to be a victim. Join us 11 a.m. on 1100 on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Coming up this weekend on the John Tesh Radio Show, would you believe arguing with your spouse could help keep the doctor away? I'll explain why occasional arguments can help boost your immune system. according to a new UCLA study. Don't miss this. Next, Intelligence for Your Life. You're tuned into the 50,000-watt powerhouse, Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. Join me, John Tesh, Saturday nights at 10, following the Talkin' One Rockin' radio show on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Hi, Dave and Rick here. The Elton Brothers on KFNX. Here to save you thousands with our new 4% listing promotion. That's right, only 4%. The Elton Brothers will list your home. Full service. Talk about no hassle. For more info, call 480-451-3318. Underwater? Get paid up to $35,000 to complete short sale. Or download the Elton Brothers app and get listings right to your phone. That's 480-451-3318. 480-451-3318. Real estate in the palm of your hand.
Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m., 1100 KFNX.
Tune in to Solar Sandy every Sunday at 10 a.m. and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Right here on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX, and get all the latest news and information on all of your solar power needs.
You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to outer space. Please stand by.
Welcome back to the Reality Check. Ben Shannerman, your host, here with you every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. If you just joined us, you missed out on our look into the Las Vegas shooting. We're still looking for the facts. We just have to keep it in the news. So, normally, as you know, we talk about UFC when there's, a pay-per-view card. I'll go into predictions and whatnot. And we'll review it after, of course. Can't hide from your predictions, It is what it is. Exciting to talk about what happened. And so there was no card as far as UFC pay-per-view card this past weekend. But it's just been a crazy time for MMA. There was Bellator 187 Friday in Ireland. And Conor McGregor, not a Bellator fighter, a UFC fighter, jumped over the top of the cage, shoved the referee, went on a wild rant. He pushed the ref, I guess hit a Bellator employee, and no control. And he's shown this time and time again. This guy has no control. He doesn't make wise decisions. He's been lucky that he got on the hype train. And yes, he's smart in that way. He's made a name for a mediocre fighter. The guy's made an awesome name for himself and got paid well. But again, a lack of control is always with this guy. 5 years from now, he's going to be a side-of-the-road joke, I'm telling you. And unbelievable just being involved. I mean, it's an embarrassment to Bellator. It's an embarrassment to the UFC and the MMA community in general. So supposedly they took him off his next fight. Really, it doesn't mean I don't think he was going to be fighting anytime soon anyway. This guy wants way too much money to fight. But so you have Conor McGregor, a guy with the title who, of course, isn't going to fight from wherever. Anderson Silva failed a drug test, or at least was flagged. We'll have to see how the other sample comes back and what it was for. But obviously, could be the end of his career, which would be a horrid note to go on. You have Colby Covington, who was talking about John Jones. Now, Colby was the one who beat down Damian Maia in Brazil the other week and just called Brazilians animals and just went on. I mean, the guy had to be walked out with full security. I mean, he wants to get himself killed. That's one thing. But, man, he's taking other people's lives in his hands when you're going crazy like that in Brazil about Brazilians. So he didn't stop. This week, he was talking about John Jones. And he said he used to be John Jones' roommate in college and that John Jones was a dirty pig and all he cared about was partying and drugs and he's a fake Bible thumper and all this wisdom stuff is just a fraud and that John Jones is just a drug addict who liked to party. And sadly, I mean, can we really disagree with most of that for John Jones? I mean, unfortunately, at the end of the day, before he was busted the first time, when he first got in trouble, we had heard the stories about him rolling up in strip clubs, him coming in with the Bentleys, getting in, driving drunk. It wasn't shocking. Any of that stuff that had happened. What was shocking is that when he almost went to jail, he didn't learn from it. That's what's sad and shocking. people sometimes get out of control when they get the money, but you figure, especially a guy who is that talented and that smart in what he does, he would learn. But as wasting his talents could be, unfortunately, John Jones hasn't learned, and maybe he'll never learn, or by the time he learns, kind of be, at least a new chapter in his life. Then we had Frankie Edgar, one of my favorites, Jersey boy, just like me, is hurt, and now he won't fight for a title. That's disappointing. And then Dominic Cruz broke his arm, and now he's not going to fight Rivera, which means the winner, it would have been nice. The winner of that fight could have fought maybe TJ Dillashaw, or if Cruz won, he could have had a fight with Garbrandt again. Any of those fights would have been awesome. And now that's off the table. And now we have the Jose Aldo rematch. I mean, with Holloway, not exciting at all. I mean, Jose has looked pretty bad. With the exception of when he fights Frankie Edgar, he's looked pretty bad. I watched the Poirier-Anthony Pettis fight this weekend. It was a bloodbath. It was a pretty good fight, though. It was pretty exciting. Poirier did a really good job, and Pettis was just, he was competitive, but he's kind of a shell of himself. I don't know what happened. Was it winning the belt and it just went to his head? The guy's just a shell of himself. It's pretty sad. Andrei Arlovsky won this past weekend, which is good, because I'm sure if he would have lost, that would have been the end of his career. And he's a fun guy. He's fun to have around. And same thing, another guy who probably could have been at the end of his career had he lost, Clay Guida. A modern-day worker, the carpenter, the caveman. He actually, first round TKO. I couldn't even remember the last time he's had a TKO, but just tremendous. So for Anderson Silva, him being out, Michael Bisping getting back into the octagon really quick. He'll be replacing and fighting against Gastelum, so that's at least a good bout. Kelvin Gastelum versus Bisping, and it was really weird. They were saying the betting odds, it was Bisping the underdog. That's crazy, really. Bisping was the champ. You can say he ducked from people, and I'll be the first to admit that. But man, he still was the champ. He still has a lot of high-quality wins. He beats most of those second-rate opponents, which Gastelum still is until he proves otherwise. Bisping, the guys that Bisping have lost are usually the top-of-the-line guys, the number one contender type, something like that. I don't know. So, that's pretty much it till our next UFC card. As far as, MMA, be exciting December, because there are two cards. There's one December 4th and then one on the 30th of December. So now on to the less exciting news of the government. So today it came out that $15 million in taxpayer money has been paid out to settle congressional sexual harassment suits. Now, we ask, why would any money come from the taxpayer? I don't care who it was in the government. That should come out of their own money. And then the fact of there's a law that says we can't know about it. Like, it's not public knowledge who had to settle a suit. We should be able to know. I thought there was clear policies on all our money spent in the government. Obviously not the case. When we're paying out $15 million in sexual harassment suits, it's a scam. We need to know whose fault it was and why our money's going. That's the only way we can hold these people accountable. You can't hold anybody accountable if you don't know what's going on. It makes no sense. And we know GQ names Colin Pimpleneck Citizen of the Year. It's publicity. We all know what that's for. It's to agitate some people and to get a bunch of other people who never buy magazines. Oh my gosh, Kaepernick. The guy doesn't even know what he started. He's too lazy to do anything about it. All the guy does is sit on the sideline. he doesn't. Firstly, he shouldn't even be a citizen of the year. I mean, you have people like J.J. Watt. I don't know. He raised $37 million for hurricane relief, but whatever. Colin Kaepernick. What has he done in the past year? What, he wore socks that insult police? I mean, like, almost any kid says bacon or donut down the block. It's not very creative, and it's not very citizen-like. Because I'm sure if Kaepernick was getting mugged in the alleyway, he wouldn't be calling the ACLU or his girlfriend. He'd be calling the police. You know, Colin Kaepernick is the guy who, let me remind you, walked away from $12 million. The NFL didn't cut him. He wasn't cut by the 49ers. He walked away from the contract. And people always fail to say what this guy would sign for. And when the Ravens brought him in, and they were talking about maybe possibly signing him, what happened? His girlfriend insulted Ray Lewis and the owner of the Ravens. Ray Lewis, you know, personally, I mean, I think Ray Lewis is trash, but he was, or still, he is an advisor to the Ravens, but he was their best player ever. And he was the one who was consulting them on signing Kaepernick, and you're going to insult them? Of course they're going to turn around and not sign you. It's just common sense. My name is Ben Shanneman, host of The Reality Check. You catch us here every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. When we come back for our final segment, we'll go over news and 10-cent jokes.
Would you like to expand your business? I'm Francis Battaglia, president of Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. KFNX is one of the most cost-effective and powerful ways to get your message out, reach potential customers, and grow your business. Advertise for only $10 per 30-second spot on top shows like Laura Ingraham and Michael Savage. Call me at 602-277-1100, extension 1463. 602-277-1100, extension 1463.
Men, if your performance in the bedroom isn't what it used to be, it's time to visit the Southwest Men's Clinic. More than 50% of men past the age of 40 suffer from erectile dysfunction. The licensed providers at the Southwest Men's Clinic are committed to helping restore relationships and making you feel happy, healthy, and at your best in the bedroom again. That's a feeling that never gets old for you or your partner. Call the Southwest Men's Clinic today at 480-401-5965 because sex matters. Disclaimer, treatment plans are extra. Contact your doctor if an erection lasts longer than 4 hours.
The Del Walmsley Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Why do I bother? Because what I want you to understand is you can do something about your situation, where you are, what you can do, how you can isolate and insulate yourself from all of this political and financial garbage that goes on out there.
The Del Walmsley Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Everything you need to know about finance and real estate. For more information, mypassiveincomesystem.com. mypassiveincomesystem.com.
Hi, this is the D-Man from the Talkin' One Rockin' Radio Show. Join the Talkin' One Rockin' Radio Show team. Sponsorship, advertisement, or be on the show. Call the Talkin' One Rockin' Radio Show promoter, Mr. Ray at 480-459-6519. 480-459-6519. Join the #1 show on Saturday night, the Talkin' One Rockin' Radio Show. 480-459-6519.
You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to outer space. Please stand by.
Welcome back to The Reality Check. Your host, Ben Shanneman, here with you every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. If you missed the last segment, we talked mainly about MMA, Conor McGregor at Bellator last week, some of the injuries and failed drug tests, the goings-on of that. We talked a little bit about, of course, GQ and Colin Kaepernick. So this segment, why was Jerry Brown overseas at the UN climate change meeting? He works for California, not the UN. Can Jerry Brown stop wasting taxpayer money and destroying the climate with his big carbon footprint since he's flying all over the place. We're saying Jerry Brown, you know? So here's an interesting story. This story is a little bit over 2 years old, but I was kind of interested by it, and I'll read it up. Here we go. So Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Captain Roosevelt Johnson thought it was odd when 3 people, 2 of them dressed in police uniforms he didn't recognize, strolled into the Santa Clarita station in February. One man introduced himself as the chief of the Masonic Fraternal Police Department and told Johnson that this was a courtesy call to let him know the agency was setting up shop in his area. They met for 45 minutes, Johnson said, but he left and he was confused and suspicious. So much so that he immediately ordered deputies to pull station surveillance videos so they could have images of the visitors. He also assigned detectives to check them out. It was an odd meeting, the captain recalled. It raised suspicion level. This week, the 3 people were charged with impersonating police officers. They were David Henry, who told Johnson he was the police chief, Tonette Hayes, and Brandon Keel. Keel, who is an aide to the then State Attorney General, Kamala Harris, a name that you should know. It turns out Henry, Hayes, and Keel had allegedly introduced themselves to police agencies across the state. Though it's unclear why, a website claimed to represent their 4 cities connected to the Knights Templars. They said they go back 3,000 years. The site also said that the department had jurisdiction in 33 states and Mexico. When asked what the difference between the Masonic Fraternal Police Department and other police departments, the answer was simple for us. We were here first, their website said. Los Angeles County prosecutors said the whole effort was a ruse, though for what purpose was unclear. The investigation continued. Johnson said Keel did most of the talking during the meeting. Keel said in addition to his police position, he worked for Harris. When Keel departed, Johnson said he left his card from the State Department of Justice. David Beltran, a spokesperson for the State Department of Justice, said Keel was placed on paid leave April 30th, the day he was arrested. He's paid $67,416 annually as Deputy Director of Community Affairs. Harris had received regular briefings on the case since it began. So, yada, yada, this whole thing. So these guys, one of them who worked for Kamala Harris, her right-hand man, were fake police officers. For what reason, nobody knows. They look smart, articulate, very ethical. It was hard to believe. Some of the people said they actually had rented their own office, and people thought they were just security guards. They had no idea what they were doing. So the 3 members were a religious philanthropy group, you could say. And they did work in South Los Angeles. And then their work put them in contact with various politicians, obviously Kamala Harris, but also other community leaders like Representative Maxine Waters. And the group in 2012 had given Maxine Waters, and she posed for photos with Keel and Henry, an award. So here it is, Mad Maxine again. She accepted an award for a group of what she doesn't even know what they do, because nobody knew what these guys did. They weren't even legitimate. I mean, unbelievable. But speaking of Maxine Waters, the depths of depravity. So the other day, of course, everything is impeach 45, which she should throw herself out for the crime she's committed against America, stealing taxpayer money, her and her husband, loans, banks, all the illegal stuff. We can go here for years. I mean, please, hold yourself accountable as you hold other people accountable. But the other day, Maxine Waters was at Glamour Awards, and here she went again with the impeach 45. She's on her own island, maybe? Like her buddy, one of her buddies, it was a Hank Johnson, who said that Guam was going to tip over because we had too many soldiers there. I mean, stock market, which obviously doesn't mean much to most of the regular people. It's more the richy riches. But stock market, historic highs. Unemployment best in decades. Trump's already made GDP over 3% twice. Obama never did it once. I mean, you got to know where you're at in society to, I don't know. I mean, she's so out of touch. She lives in a $5 million home outside of her own district, but she's for her people she represents. But she doesn't live where they live. She lives in a $5 million home, you know, where nobody in her district can afford that. She's a scam artist. I mean, it proves that even idiots can make it in America. Unfortunately, though, they need the help of other idiots. You know, unfortunately. I mean, she said some of the most ridiculous things. Remember, she said, my fear is if North Korea nukes us, Trump's going to get us into a war. So if North Korea nuked us, wouldn't we already be in a war? I don't know, Maxine. Help me out with that. I mean, who do you think's smarter, Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters? I don't know, but I'd say at least Nancy Pelosi has somewhat of an excuse because I personally think she probably has dementia or something like that. I mean, you could tell she's just not right anymore. From the way Nancy Pelosi was a few years ago where she was just an angry loony lib, the way she is now, you can tell she's, you know, she's mentally sick, you know. I mean, but Maxine Waters, you know, I don't know. And then we can't let a week go by, right, without, who is it? Our buddy, Brian West from NBC, defacing statues. No police arrest yet. Not even a word from the police. I don't know. What is it as citizens we can do to put an end to this? The guy was there and watched somebody vandalize a statue for a little old news report, and he thought he wasn't going to get caught because I guess he wasn't smart enough to know that there are cameras in the area. I mean, I don't know. What else can we do as citizens? I mean, do we have to march in every street and rise up against these people? Do we need to? I mean, we have a new police commissioner here. She was originally here, then she went to Oxnard to be their chief of police, and now she got promoted and back here. Is she going to do something about this? And, you know, I hear she listens to the public. Well, here it is, the public. I'm one of many who are asking for answers. What's going to happen to Brian West? Is he above the law because he's a reporter? We just want to know. It's really that simple. We always talk about tax plans. Remember, consumption tax is what it's about. The rest of the stuff is just fantasy land. You might get a tax cut. Oh, we can't afford your tax cut. What do you mean you can't afford my tax cut? The government's taking in more money than ever. So the problem isn't income. It's spending problem. Cut your spending, government, and stop telling us you can't afford our tax cuts because it's our money, our paychecks. You're not entitled to it. We're issuing some for the most important thing, what the government's supposed to do, which is security. Not spending money on giving this person a chance better than this person. Charity, that's what the churches are for. That's what us as citizens are for. There are many people that give millions of dollars each year, from the people that give $1, $5, or give their time. We don't need the government to play that role. And we definitely don't need the government to play that role with other countries. Stop giving our money to every other country immediately. No country needs our money. We need to keep it all here. Until we fix our problems, we shouldn't be giving money out anywhere. It's an absolute joke and a disgrace to not only America, but the taxpayers of this country. We deserve better. We can cut spending everywhere. I mean, does any politician need liquor on their plane? The answer is no. They don't. If you look at the budgets of what these people have in their planes, $40,000, $50,000 a year for each politician for liquor. Why do we need liquor on their planes? Why do they need to use planes for stuff that's nothing to do with the politics of it all? Why is it they could write off their own campaign stuff on our planes on our dime? None of it should happen. Why is it that these people have meal after meal for free on the taxpayer? They all make enough money. You know, you really don't see anybody getting poor going into the government, right? My name's Ben Schoeneman, host of the Reality Check, here with you every Tuesday at 9. Come join us next week on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX, and have a great